Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you this Wednesday morning?
I'm good. I'm good. I cannot believe it's Wednesday in October, and it's like now officially halfway through October, which is crazy.
This fall is flying by.
It is. And, we're up here in the Northwest, and I was looking at the weather this week and I saw that I always say, "Oh, girls," to my girls, "the rain's coming. Here it comes." Because you can always see that week in October, right when it all of a sudden every day has rain in it. So,
Yes. Oh, yes.
well, I was so excited about this because you, Rachel, are one of our founding members. So thank you for being just such an awesome, amazing part of this team. Um, and when I first did your intro post on social, told everybody that you were in stealth mode, had been in stealth mode. So you were the hardest secret to keep. But one of the most exciting announcements to make. And so I'm so excited to do this live with you and
Yes.
just get more people to know you and like what you're passionate about. And so yeah. So what are you most excited about?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I should make sure everybody understands here that I have been part of Nectarfull since technically back in the spring. I actually was part of this organization for about 6 months before we announced that I was even in it. So that was my stealth mode. But I had a few things to tend to before I could officially really get into things. For everyone's information, I moved over the summer. This is my brand new space that I get to do this work in, and we've been really busy, and we've also been doing some reorging over at Not Tonight, which is my project that I'm kind of coming from and still in conjunction with Nectarfull here. So I've worked in the coaching and women's sexuality space for coming up toward the 5-year mark. I feel like it's been a while now, actually. But I have not actually offered coaching services until now. So this is an exciting new chapter in my journey as somebody who has worked in the field of women's sexuality in long-term relationships.
Mhm.
And then I'm also really excited to offer services in the realm of the Enneagram as well, because that's something that's been a passion of mine for a very long time. And um, just the more that I've dove into each of those subjects, the more I realize that they really line up and enhance one another. So,
It's so fun. I'm so excited about it because I have a few friends that are always like, "Well, what's your Enneagram number?" And, and talking about like what numbers other people are. And, I think I took one of the like super small, like 10 question, like assessments, but I'm excited. We're going to have to, I'm going to have to do that with you. Have you show me tell me what my real number is. And you probably already know, but
I do not.
she's
I do.
psychoanalyzing me every time we talk, I'm sure. But one of the things that drew me to what you do is just your story and your vulnerability around like what God has done in your own marriage.
Mm,
And when it comes to intimacy and understanding intimacy
mhm,
in marriage, and how the Enneagram actually connects to that. And
mhm.
my husband and I, and for the last year and a half, have been almost exactly, actually, now that I'm looking at the date, it was April of 2023 when we first started.
Mhm.
But we have a marriage coach, and we've been working with her. She specializes in relationships where there is an element of neurodiversity in one or both of the partners, and in any relationship, communication is hard. We
Right.
found our communication, we were going like this, like,
Yeah.
and so it was not that we didn't want to, but that we couldn't. And so she's been really helping us understand that. So when I started to think about what you're doing and the fact that intimacy is so directly related connected to our ability to communicate and understand each other. So the
Mhm.
Enneagram, I never in 5 million years would have thought of thinking of putting those two things together.
Yeah.
So how did you like decide like, gosh, that is something that I can absolutely connect for people?
Yeah. So, for me in my story, I've said this a million times that I have read a lot of marriage books. I've done a lot of like work and digging into marriage, intimacy, relationships, and just trying to work on my own marriage. Because I'm like a growth junkie. This is what I do. Um, and like a few years back, I started digging into the Enneagram a little more. And once my husband and I really started uncovering what each type we were and where we were coming from,
Mm,
it skyrocketed our ability to communicate well and see each other and have compassion for each other far beyond any other resource I'd ever tried. And like something that you were sharing about like being in a neurodivergent marriage where your
mm,
brains are just working on different planes, like
mm,
that is a unique space to be in.
mm,
But it's also what all of us experience because all of us have a completely different context that we're working from and a different lens that we're seeing the world through.
mm,
And so when we're trying to communicate between two human beings, doesn't matter who these human beings are, but when we're married, there's an extra level of commitment and longevity around that communication. We are always going to be saying things that we are intending a certain way, and they're going to be
mm,
received differently because the lens is different. There is going to be a jump in between our world and theirs. And the Enneagram helps us like kind of see the lens that they're going to receive things through before
mm,
we even say it. And so it really supports healthy communication. And then when that intersects with our sexuality, like sexuality is all about communication. Like we cannot have a connected, intimate sex life if we are not talking, if we are not communicating, if we are not making our needs clear, making our desires known. Like it is all about communicating.
yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that people have hangups in their sexual relationships is that it's hard to talk about. It's hard to
Mm,
communicate our wants and needs and desires. And so when we better understand our own context of communication as
mm,
well as our partners, guess what just got easier? Talking about sex. So
yeah. And why is that with your best friend, the person that's supposed to be your best friend? Like, why does that become so hard for us?
oh my gosh, that's such a great question. I love talking about this. I think that when we look at new relationships
Mm,
and maybe sexual partnerships that are outside of a marriage context, there's a newness and an excitement and a mystery that is going to make it a little easier to just kind of show up in the way you want to show up and be who you want to be because there's this mystery and you're like excited to get to
mm,
know the other person and there's this like anticipation. And then the longer we're in a relationship, the more time that goes on. Yes, we might have this close knowing of our partner, but the issue is we are not static human beings and we do not stay the
right.
same forever. And all of a sudden, as time goes on, desires, needs, things that we might hold close to our hearts, those can shift. Though
Mm,
like desires can be realized that maybe we didn't see before. And the more we know another person or think we know another person, it becomes very hard to revisit and say, actually, this
mm,
is not how I feel. And I haven't felt this way in a long time, or maybe I have felt this way for a long time, but it becomes harder to bring up the more time that passes.
mm,
And then not to mention all of our hangups and shame and internal stories around our sexuality that make it that much harder to bring any of this up in the first place.
mm,
So
mhm.
there's just it is a loaded bag when it comes to our needs and desires. And then, then there's the whole conversation of just being a woman in this
Yeah.
conversation too, like
Yeah.
having needs and desires at all. That also
Mm.
makes it hard.
Right.
Like the cards are stacked so high against us
Mhm.
when it comes to sexual communication that we all need support. Like
Yeah.
I have been doing this work for over 5 years, 6, 7, I don't even know how long now. And I still like, I have hangups around certain areas of my
Mhm.
sexuality that still feel sticky, still feel difficult, still feel the shame kind of hanging around in the back. Like we've had these conversations, like I've done this work, I've been in there, I've scraped it all out. Nope, it creeps back in because
Mhm.
it's so deep. So I'm a believer that we all need a space to talk about what we are processing through in our sexuality that's not just with the partner that we are with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that person, while they are hopefully a safe place to talk to about things, there comes a moment when we might not be ready to bring it to them yet because
Right.
we still need to do digging. Still need to figure out like what's really going on because it's tender, because when we bring it up, it could spark a lot of big feelings. We just
Mm.
need to do some processing with a coach, a friend, a trusted, safe person, a therapist. Like there's so many ways that we can pursue that support. And so in this space, I'm offering that one-on-one coaching support, but I'm also a big believer in like group spaces for
Mm.
women to
Mhm.
have conversations that are real and that they can start digging in, which is why something else, sorry, I am totally going off here, but I just,
No, do it. I think it's great. I'm so glad because in my head, I literally was just about to say, so what does that look like in coaching with you? Like,
yes,
how do you pull that out? So you read my
great.
mind.
All right, great. Then I'll just keep going. Um, so for me, like I do offer this one-on-one space and this one-on-one opportunity to connect with me as somebody who has been doing this work for a while. I have talked with and worked alongside many women who have had various hangups in their sexual relationships. At the Not Tonight Project, which I've been at for over 3 years now, I hosted a podcast for 3 seasons where every episode was us having a conversation with a real woman about her actual
Mm.
sexual story and what she went through as a child, as a teen, as a young woman in college. Maybe she got married. Maybe she left that marriage. Maybe she didn't get married. And because she's processing, but it all goes back to what we first ingested. So I'm a huge believer in story, that we carry our sexual story in our bodies. And so there's a lot of like externalizing we need to do because we have
Mm.
internalized so much. And so in coaching, that's a place to privately, confidentially process through that.
Yeah.
I've had a podcast where people have bravely, publicly done some of that processing. You can
Mhm.
still access it. It's the Not Tonight Project on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, all the things. Um,
Mhm.
and then I've also hosted, and I'm bringing it back. I am hosting monthly women's circles
Ooh.
where gather on Zoom once a month in a confidential space for women to show up and share what they're processing and share any learnings that they've had, any books or resources that they have that they're like, oh my gosh, this actually helped. So there's so many things that don't help.
That's
And so
awesome.
providing a space online for women to gather and have these conversations that maybe they don't have another avenue for. I just
Yeah.
deeply believe in group processing as well. So
Mhm.
there's different ways for women to seek out support and seek out ways to dig into their story. And
Mm.
I'm all about diversifying that because we all learn different ways and we all are comfortable to different extents with sharing what we're going through.
Mhm.
So there's public ways to do that, there's small group settings to do that, and there's individual. So I'm
Yes.
all about all of it.
And that is, I mean, it's exactly what one of one of the philosophies, the core philosophies of Nectarfull, right,
Mhm.
is to meet people where they are. And so we're building a library of digital resources. So I know all of
Mhm.
our coaches are working behind the scenes right now to build some really cool digital resources that'll be coming out soon. We all do the one-on-one coaching. Everybody's looking at doing various groups. And because we know that some people, there might be a woman out there struggling at 2 a.m. and she doesn't feel safe yet to reach out to a coach, but she's more than willing to do an e-course or to watch an on-demand workshop that she can sit in her living room at 3 a.m. and watch. And we want people to know that this is a safe place to explore whatever it is that you're going through. Yeah. And so I love that. That's something that you've already been working on as well. Of course it is. Of course it is. God is so cool that way, to make our minds just working on the same wavelength.
And yeah, that's what drew me so much to Nectarfull, is that I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing, but then we get to do it better, because it's like all these different specialties and all these different like incredible women coming together and pooling their knowledge, their wisdom, their resources. Like, that's what I'm all about, is diversifying knowledge and wisdom. So this is just the coolest hub for that. So
I love it.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
So if somebody did want to get to know you more, schedule time with you, right now Nectarfull is running just a really cool promotion. They can go directly to your profile at coaching.nectarfull.com and schedule a discovery call with you, which is totally free. And then 3 sessions at an insanely low investment of $295. But if there's anything else that they would want to do to start to work with you, what would you say to them?
Yeah. So the discovery call is such a great place to start if you want that personalized support. But if you want to pursue something else, again, you can look up the podcast and do some just ingesting on your own. And again, that's the Not Tonight podcast. And then there's also the opportunity to come to a women's circle. The next one is going to be on November 6th. If you follow the Not Tonight project on Instagram, I will be posting all the things. I'll be sharing all the information there. There's actually a link to register right in my profile. So if you want to come and it's completely free. You just show up and it's a confidential space. You can just register there. And I feel like those are kind of the main ways. Like, there's the personal, there's the group, and then there's the more like detached, like ingesting of the podcast. I'm also working on developing or revamping, honestly, a free PDF that I'm going to be getting out here pretty soon.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's called Soothe. I don't even know if I've told you about this.
No, I'm like, this is a surprise to me too. Tell me.
It's like on my little to-do list here.
I have like 4 of those.
Yes. And so it's called Soothe, and it's all about how to really like regulate your body and your heart to a place where you're ready to and able to notice what's going on in yourself enough so that you can connect with the truth that is inside your body about your own sexuality. Because something that I have noticed again and again is we are all very disconnected to our sexual selves. And there's a lot of reasons for this. But if we want to connect to our sexual selves, we have to do some preparation work first. We can't just go, okay, I'm ready to do the hard work. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to start thinking about, what do I want? What do I like?
Yeah.
How intimidating is that? Like, if someone's going to be like, okay, let's like think about like what positions are comfortable for you. Okay, well, there's a bridge, right? We've got to walk the bridge before we can get there, you know, like, and we can't just sit down and think of like, there's just so much. And so this PDF is all about helping you prepare your body and your mind and your heart to a place where you could actually entertain those thoughts and they don't feel scary and they don't feel icky. And they don't feel shame-filled. It feels like, no, this is an extension and a big part actually of who I am.
Yes.
It's connected to my actual life source.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of what the women of Nectarfull are, it's amazing the messages in everybody's different niches
Mhm.
about overcoming lies that maybe Christian women have believed in their upbringing in their church. And we could probably do a whole nother session on this at some point. But if there's a Christian woman out there hearing this right now and they're like, oh, that I can't, that's not good to talk about, and I know plenty of those women who used to be in that darkness of not addressing those things inside them. How would you encourage them right now to say, like, it's okay?
Mhm. Um, there's a lot of things I'd want to say, but most of all, I just want to give that woman a big hug and tell her that she is not just a spirit,
Mm,
she's also a body, and that God came to be with us in a body
mm,
because that body matters,
yes.
and that her body and the way that her body experiences the world is good and true, and there is power in it.
Mm,
And she has likely been told that her body is either bad or dangerous or scary or not trustworthy.
yeah.
And I want her to know that those are all lies. Those are really, really gross and evil lies that have taught her to not trust herself.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that women, especially, know that it's safe to trust ourselves because, especially when we believe we have the Holy Spirit in our bodies, we have love, we have light, we have goodness, we have the very character of God stored in our bodies, we can trust what's in there.
Mm. Oh, what a great, like, that last statement just hit me. Like, as soon
Mhm,
as you said it, I was like, whoa. Like, if God is, we believe God is in us and part of us. And so it is good.
mhm, mhm.
So
It's
good.
Yes, it's so sad to me to
Yeah.
hear people talk about how the body is bad and the flesh is bad and evil
Mm.
because it completely disregards the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It completely throws that whole concept away, and I'm like, "Where
Mm.
did that go? I thought this was
I know. It's
part of our
amazing your
belief."
human nature, humanness, right? Like what we
Yeah.
can distort and
Mhm.
but when we bring it all back to the truth of who God is and what He taught us in Jesus, um, like it's mind blowing, like how distorted we've
Yeah.
made His beautiful
Mhm.
creation, His beautiful truth, His beautiful character.
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing that. I think that I hope out of anything like that we have some people that hear that and are encouraged
Mhm.
and that it hopefully changes some hearts even in just hearing that
Yes,
statement.
absolutely. I
Mm,
do wanna note as well, if there's people listening from my Not Tonight world, who aren't part of the, like, Christian framework belief
mm,
system, I just wanna speak to them for a second and
yeah.
know that I believe that there is goodness and love in everybody, and it's not just about whether you have the Holy Spirit or believe in the Holy Spirit or
Mm,
not in your body. Like, I still believe your body is so good and precious and valuable.
mm,
So this truth does not just sit for those who are within a Christian context. Like, this goes so far
yep,
beyond. And so I just want everyone to know this is an inclusive space.
absolutely.
And I want to be present and available and accessible to
Mhm.
every woman
Yep.
who wants to connect and do this work,
Mhm.
regardless of what background she's coming from. So
Absolutely. And I think anybody who's interested can read our beliefs on our team page on nectarfull.com. And there's a belief statement at the end there that says, all of the Nectarfull coaches come from the Christian faith, but we believe that everyone, I think it's Melinda that wrote it. So shout out to Melinda, because I just thought this statement was so beautiful. She said, we all are on our own faith journey, whatever that looks like. And so we would welcome new clients or people to work with us who are wrestling with anything. And it is a blessing to us to be able to even be trusted and share in that in whatever your walk looks like. And so if you have questions about that, you can email us at info@nectarfull.com and one of our coaches will get back to you. But what a great way to express that our hearts are open to partnering with you all and welcoming all and working with all and just seeing the great things that will happen in everybody's lives. So thanks for saying that. And we welcome the Not Tonight podcast crew and hope that they'll follow along the Nectarfull, the Nectarfull group as we grow too. And as we collaborate and things, we're just so excited.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm just all about the collaboration. It's so good.
Yes, the collaboration. It's a feel here. So it's a vibe. It's a whole Nectarfull vibe. So
it is.
Oh, well, thank you for being here today with me and spending this chilly morning with me. I was like, ooh, do I wear a sweater? Because I was like, usually I wear, something cooler when I'm doing the lives, but it was cold this morning, so I put on a sweater. Yep. I'm doing it. So, but enjoy your day. I'm gonna end us now here. Thanks everybody, and we hope that we'll see you soon.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Bye.